Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to MK Convenience Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video, I'm going to go over part 3 of taking the wheelchair course in New York City. Now, this video is supposed to be helping you guys to either refresh your memory, or maybe if you those are people that are planning to take this course, to help you guys out what to expect when you take the course. This video, by watching this video, by no means make you, wheelchair accessible certified. You do have to go in person, and you have to attend a live course. It's usually a one-day course. You could check on the TLC website. They do give you a list of authorized places where the TLC wheelchair course is authorized. It's all over the 5 boroughs. You could search there and actually find out which course offers it. Like I said, it's a one-day course. It's very simple and it's very easy to take it. So last I left off, we were going and deboarding your passengers. It's basically taking them off. I'm not gonna go over every step of it. I'm just gonna go over certain the key things that what you expect when you do it. So basically, when you're taking off a passenger from a wheelchair, you're supposed to follow certain steps. For example, number 1, when you reach your destination to drop off your point, you must reverse the procedure of unsecuring the passenger in a wheelchair. Number 2, first ensure the wheelchair locks are in the locked position. Number 3, then remove the shoulder belt and set it aside. Be careful when the loose ends of the belt when you do not strike your passenger or another nearby person. Number 4, next remove the lap belt by pressing the red release button to separate the two sections and remove them individually and place them to the side. So this is basically teaching you when you're taking off the passengers. Like I said, I'm not going to go over certain points. I'm just here to guide you what to expect when you do go through and take these things, because as I said before, when you're dealing with the wheelchair passenger, you have to properly secure them when you're putting them in your vehicle, and you have to properly unsecure them when you're dropping off the location. So they do teach you on how to do that and everything in the classroom, but it's mostly you're going to learn it by hands-on when you actually do it. I mean, nothing is really you can't learn anything just by listening to me or listening to the instructor in the classroom. They will show it to you as well, but you actually have to do something by hand in order for you to learn. So for example, combination of lap and shoulder belt with single retractor and height adjusters. They teach you step by step. For example, use this system, remove the loose female section of the lap belt from the wall pouch. Number 2, thread the stiff end of the belt through the paste between the seat back and bottom, or between the seat back of the arms of the chair on the aisle side of the passenger. Number 3, then attach it to the pin connection on top of the rear contractor, and then they detach the stiff end of the lap shoulder belt from the stowage pin connector of the retractor. And obviously there's other steps that you have to follow step by step. Number 19, going forward as well, the last point, I'm going to read certain points over here. For example, the retractor will automatically take up the stick in the belt, and the tap, then lap and shoulder belt combination with a single retractor is an emergency locking retractor ELR system. So basically, again, this is step by step you have to follow when you're doing these things. Combination of lap and shoulder belt with 2 retractors, type A2. If you have that, then these are certain points you have to follow as well. I'm going to go over some, not all. Number 1, to use this combination, simply pull the belt from the retractor and thread the female portion of the lap belt, which is on the aisle side of the passenger, up throughout the opening between the seat back and bottom, or between the seat back and armrest of the chair. The belt will automatically lock when you stop pulling. Then remove the lap shoulder belt, stiff end from the stowage extraction connector, and thread it around the passenger and through the opening between the seat belt and bottom, or between the seat back and armrest of the chair. Again, not going to go over every point. It's too much things to go over, but I'm just going over just to give you guys a certain taste of what to expect. Again, this is the refractor type A3. This is also have certain points you're supposed to follow. Again, this is like whatever your retractor point you're using, just follow their guidelines. Number 21, cable release. Certain points I'm going to go over. The remote cable release is one of the Q-strain option that has certainly made securement and release of wheel one chair so much easier than ever before. Place the wheelchair somewhere within the securement station so it's easy to reach and attach the rear belt. Then back the wheelchair into the desired position and set the wheel locks. Number 4, you may now complete the remainder of the wheelchair and occupant securement. So these are some of the things you have to follow again. And belt cutters, also very important. Now, it is certainly recommended that you have at least one belt cutter on board your vehicle. The ideal location is in your driver compartment for easy access in case of an emergency. Remember, if it becomes necessary to cut a belt, it must be cut at a 45-degree angle for ease of cutting. And always be prepared for emergencies and think about the easiest way of assisting your passenger to evacuate should an emergency occur. So belt cutter is important. Keep that in mind. If you do have a wheelchair accessible, you can't keep a belt cutter in your vehicle. Just make sure it's legal enough in your borough. Meaning, like, if you go outside of another state, the laws tend to change differently. So keep that in mind. Number 23, some questions and answers. The following items as a minimum should be inspected on at least daily basis. Some of the things you have to do it. Check the retractor by pulling out the webbing to ensure they are locking properly. Check to ensure webbing is not cut, frayed, damaged, or contaminated by polishes, oils, and chemicals. Important. Check that metal parts are not worn, broken, or cracked. Check pin connectors, brushing, and ensure they are not cracked, broken, or missing. Check that all mounting hardware such as bolts, nuts, and etc. are secure. Check floor anchorage, ensure cleanliness and securement. Check shoulder belt anchorage for proper securement and operation. Check lap and shoulder belt webbing to ensure it's not cut, frayed, damaged, or contaminated with polishes, oil, and chemical. Check buckles for damages and ensure proper operation. Check mill buckles, pin connector, brushing to ensure it is not cracked, broken, or missing. Check any other part of the securement system and accessories that may not be specifically indicated in the checklist, but are pertinent to a safe operation system. So keep this in mind. These are certain checklists it's better to follow for your inspection as a daily inspection. Now, discrepancies can be found during the inspection process and should be reported to the supervisor. This is an example what it is. Like, these are discrepancies, write it down, operation signature, corrective actions, contact corrected by and print by. This is something that, you know, is for your records to retain, just in case if something does happen, you could let them know. This is number 24. The following items should be inspected and served during scheduled vehicle maintenance. So these are all the things you should do. Basically, it's like helping you out just to be safe in case something does happen. Again, I'm not gonna. These are a lot of points to go over. I'm just gonna go over probably 5 to 6 points just to give you the taste of what you expect. So let's go to number 1. Inspect the retractor by pulling out the webbing to the maximum and allow it to rewind into the spool. Inspect the retractor to ensure they are locking properly. Inspect to ensure webbing is not cut, frayed, damaged, or contaminated with polishes, oils, or chemicals. Inspect all motor parts to ensure they are not worn, contracted, or broken. Inspect pin connector brushing to ensure they are not cracked, broken, or missing. Inspect floor anchorage to ensure cleanness and proper securement. Inspect aluminum truck and hardware for any signs of erosion. I'm going to skip certain things because there's a lot of inspections over here, but these are some of these are all the inspections properly to use, just in case, you know, like it helps, it protects you, and it protects as something happens in case of emergency. Because if you have something like this with you and you're actually inspecting them, and for example, God forbid, if you get in an accident and something happens to the passenger, you can always show the officer something like, listen, I did properly do this every single day. This is my maintenance checklist, and you know, I checked it before I did anything. I drove and I checked it, and you know, obviously anything that happened, I mean, literally, you could do everything perfect, but so God forbid something happens, it could happen, and there's no telling what happened. So keep that in mind. This is for protection to yourself. Something in case it does happen, you always have proof on your record. All deficiencies should be reported to your supervisor and an item either repaired or replaced prior to the vehicle being returned to services. Wheelchairs tied down an occupant tray system WTORS, including anchorage that are suspected to have been used during an impact from which the vehicle must be told should be replaced. Again, small thing over here, discrimination retorted, corrective action corrected by this for your records. Number 25, some questions and answers. Now, as you've seen in my other 2 videos, so this is something that as question and answer, they do give you a small test. It's a very simple test. Honestly, the place that I went to, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, literally the test was really easy. But I mean, I don't know which place you might go to, but whatever place you go to, they have their own standards of taking tests. So I'm just going to do a small review just in case if they do give you a difficult test. At least I could help you out, at least just a little bit. Maybe you might help. So question number 1: what type of floor anchorage is in your vehicle? Is it an L-track style? Is it an A-track style? Slide and click style, and other? Well, it's an L-track style. What feature has been added to the QRT Max L-track fitting? Well, it's C, the PLI. Which floor anchorage system allows fitting to enter from any direction? The slide and click. How often should you conduct inspection for Q-strain securement system? Well, we were just going over it, at least daily. How many tightening knobs on the QRT Max retractor? Is 0. How can you determine the difference between the front retractor and the rear retractor? They're all the same. Number 7. How is the regular lap belt attached to the QRT Max retractor? The answer is to a pin connector. Question number 26. The wheelchair may face in what direction when using the QRT Max? Forward facing. Number 9. What type of connecting device attaches to the wheelchair when using the QRT Max system? It's the J-hook. Front tie strap should be what angle when attached to the wheelchair from the retractor? It's 40 to 60 degrees. How can you best determine if the positive locking indicator fitting is properly locked into the anchorage? It's all the above. After an electric wheelchair and its occupant have it completely secured, you should what? Turn off the power. Rear tie-down strap should be at what angle when attached to a wheelchair from the retractor? 30 to 45 degrees. How much webbing may protrude from the QRT Max retractor when it's locked in its shortest position? It's 3 to 4 inches. Number 27. At what location on the passenger's body should the lap and shoulder be met? The hip. How is the webbing on the QRT Max retractor? By pressing the red release lever. Number 17. When cutting webbing or belt with the belt cutter, you should always cut at a 45-degree angle. That's what we just read so far. If you have difficulty attaching the J-hook to the frame of a wheelchair, you may use a webbing loop. Number 19. How many tie-down belts should be attached to a wheelchair without any occupants on board? At least 4 belts. Number 20. The lap belt should always bear on the dash structure of the passenger's body and run as low as possible across the front of the pelvis. It's the bony structure. So that's it for the questions answered. This is the last page. So basically, the American with Disability Act, ADA, is a civil rights law that forbids discrimination against individuals with disability in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. What is this basically saying? Because if you deny certain with like a wheelchair passenger, let's say if you wheelchair passenger vehicle and you deny them services, you can get a fine, or you can basically get even charged for that because of the discrimination. To keep that in mind, if you're a taxi driver or TLC driver, and you're supposed to basically assist passenger with everything else, like for example storing luggage, and if you have a wheelchair passenger, you're supposed to do the same exact thing to help them out in the system as well. Don't discriminate on it, because the fines are very high with you don't want to get fined. And one part I have to let you know, once you take the class and you pass the test, that they will give you a certification either in a paper or small card depending on where you go. So keep that in mind. Keep that in your pocket at all times. Either make a photocopy of it, keep it in your pocket or in your dashboard, because if a TLC inspector pulls you over and you don't have that, that's a summons. So it's not a big summons, but it's a summons. I mean, you don't want to get hit by a summons on your TLC record. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to let you guys all know. So other than that, that's about it. That ends. This is the part 3 of the TLC wheelchair course that I wanted to tell you guys what to expect. Thank you guys for listening to this video, and I hope I helped out as much as I could have explained the course. If you guys have any other questions, comment, concern, guys, anything at all, just comment in the video and I'll try my best to hit you up as fast as possible. Thank you again, guys. I appreciate it for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.